Okay, you guys, 2.2 multi-step equations. We're going to be adding on more steps than we did with the 1 and 2 step equations that you talked about in 2.1. I threw out these 5 kind of like reminders as things you need to look at as you're working through the steps and kind of like an order of operations type thing. So step number 1, if there's a distributive property, that will go first because it has parentheses. And when multiplying, after you do that, you can combine like terms, which would be something like 3a plus 4a. And we would write down 7a. Moving the variable if it's needed, okay? Add and subtract would be those last terms. This would be the constant on each side, okay? And then multiply and divide, which would be like the coefficient. So keeping those steps in mind as we move through each one, okay? Make this a little bit bigger, and let's go to our first step, okay? So no parentheses. That means the next step would be to combine like terms. On this side, we have 3x plus 5x, which gives me 8x. Then we have dropping down, negative 5 equals 11. Okay, the next thing says to move the variable, which we don't need to at this point. Then we have add or subtract our constant, which is 5. So I'm going to add 5 to both sides because it's being subtracted. 8x equals 16. And our last step is to divide by the coefficient. So x equals 2. Okay. Next one, same thing. Parentheses first. So this is a negative 1, which means we need to distribute to both of these. 5a drops, negative 3a, negative 6 equals 22. Combine like terms would be here. So 2a minus 6 equals 22. Okay, we don't have to move the variable, so we're going to move the constant by adding or subtracting. And this one is addition. Leaves me with 2a equals 28. Last step, divide the coefficient. And a equals 14. Okay. All right, same thing. We're going to multiply with the parentheses. So we're going to distribute here and here. This gives me 3/4 x, and this one will give me 15/4 equals 9. Okay, I need to add 15/4 to both sides. These are gone. I've got 3/4 x equals 12 and 3/4. And then we divide by 3/4 on both sides. And x equals 17. Okay. Moving forward, distribute here and here. And we're going to have 10 over 6y plus 20 over 6 equals 10. Okay. Subtract 20 over 6. Gives me 6 2/3. And so y equals 4. Okay. Excellent. Okay, next set. Now, this guy on part A is something that you're going to see quite a bit, and it's usually the one that we mess up on the most, okay? So this is a fraction, when you see this bar here, which means division. And again, we always do the opposite in order to solve, right? So the opposite of division would be multiplication, and that's what we have to get rid of, that 3 on the bottom, okay? These cancel out then. And I'm left with x minus 4 equals 24. And our last step is to add 4. So x equals 28. Okay, that's a really important one. Make sure you take note of that. All right, next one. 2y drops. And we need to distribute 7 to both of these. So plus 7y minus 21 equals 6. Combine like terms gives me 9y minus 21 equals 6. Add the constant over. Gives me 9y equals 27. And divide by the coefficient. So y equals 3. Okay, last one like this. We have, again, 34x drops. Negative 4 gets distributed. So we've got negative 20x minus 8 equals 36. These two combine like terms. So we have 14x minus 8 equals 36. Add the constant. And we have 14x equals 44. Divide by 4. And when you divide by 14, you actually get a decimal. So what we want to make sure of is that we don't write down a rounded decimal for these. So you need to leave this as a fraction. 44 over 14 simplifies to 22 over 7. Or you could leave it as 3 1/7. Either way, just no rounded decimals. Okay? All right. Pause the video, try these two on your own, and then come back and check. So we've got 2x plus 10 minus 7x equals 25. Combine like terms gives me negative 5x plus 10 equals 25. Subtract 10 from both sides gives me negative 5x equals 15. Divide by negative 5 and x equals negative 3. Okay, hopefully you got that one right. Next one, 6x drops. Negative 1 goes to both, so it becomes negative 3x minus 2 equals 16. Combine like terms is 3x minus 2 equals 16. Add the constant. 3x equals 18. And divide by the coefficient, so x equals 6. Good job.